Hello, welcome back again. Back to our interaction series for Unreal. And if you remember last time, we finished off setting up a door. I'm going to open up one of my other doors, and this one will do. And it'll just show you a little bit there. We have an interaction, which I'll show you later. The interact text is the same. We've got some extra stuff here, like setting the opening directions and stuff. But in effect, we've got open door and we've got closed door, and it's not too difficult. It looks worse than it is, but it's not too difficult. So yeah, let's get on with it. Okay, and we'll do that to this door. So we'll keep this here as a reference, but we'll make it all from scratch in here. So we need to get to our event graph, and here's our event graph. Don't know if this has got the old. Let me check my other door. Bear with me a second, because I've got two doors. I think one was cleaner than the other. It might have been the same though, I don't know. Oh, they're pretty much the same. Pretty much the same. Okay. In fact, I think they are the same. I've just, yeah, I think I copied one from the other. Okay, right. Where did we start? So we know it's got some interface, so we know we can get its interact text. So we've also got a begin play, an actor overlap, and event tick, and at the moment none of them are used. We don't need to do everything every frame. We don't care about actors overlapping, and we don't need to set anything begin play. The only thing we have got on here is these orange things, and what it is, parents. Basically it runs all the code that is on the original parent. That's all. Now for some reason, have these got them on? I think they have. Yes, they have. They've all got them on. This one, for some reason, event tick didn't have to put it in, but all it does, it tells it to run what's on the parent first, then run our code. We've got nothing on here, and the only thing we've got on here is event interact and the door interaction, which we'll do in a bit. So how are we going to interact with the door? So this is what's done in a function. So we'll do this from scratch in a function. So we need to door interact. There we go. What I've done here, you don't have to do this yourself. I've done this for cleanliness. So you got event graph here, but none of my main code's in here except for this event. But then I've got another event graph, not that one, I've just opened it twice, and I've called it door and close. It keeps my event graphs clean, separates the code that's in there by default from what I put in. If you want to put a second event graph in, you can do. You don't need to. You can do it all in this one, but you just hit plus, give it a name, and I'll call mine door open close. So whichever event graph you're in, this is how we're going to do it. So if we go into here, plus, and we called it door open close, and as you can see, it's nice and clean. There's nothing in here at all. Okay, we need some events, and there's only 3 events we need. One for the interaction, one for opening the door, and one for closing the door. So right click, type custom event, add custom event, just press enter, and I'm going to call this door interact. So this is what's going to happen when we interact with the door. Now if we click on this here and click this call in editor and tick it, save that, and we're going to give it a, can we give it a, no, we can't give it, normally you can give it a category, but there is no category on this by the looks of it, so that doesn't matter. basically what that does is if you click on your door, make sure it's highlighted. Yep, see this door interact. Yeah, you click that and it will automatically run that script. It'll only do it while the game's playing. So if I click Modern Door 01 door interact, it won't do nothing because we haven't done anything. It just allows us to test in the editor. You don't see any of that in the game. It's actually negligible when it comes to the game. So what do we want to do? So in my other doors, what I've done, I'm checking first to see if an animation is playing, but we won't put that in yet. All we're going to do is go to check if the door's open or closed. We'll add the animation checks later. So if we come off branch, and is the door open or is it closed? That's it. Always compile and save. Now we need a new custom event. So if we write, the reason I'm doing custom events is because we can see them on here. If I do them all in functions, it does the same thing, but you can't access a timeline. So we have to use events instead, which is just a function that's on the same screen as the event graph, so it's not a problem. So if we right click, custom event. Ooh. Have I spelled something wrong? Yes, I have custom event. I'm going to call this door open. And while we're here, we'll do the other one as well. Custom event door close. There we go. Two events. The reason I made these is because now we're going to, off these, if the door is open, which is true, we want to close it. So we need to call door close. If it's false, that means the door is not open. We want to open it, so door open, call door open. There we go. And that's simple as. Basically now what will happen is whenever that is called, it will do one or the other. Yeah. Right. Now the door, to open the door, what do we need to open the door? So I'll just quickly show you what I have here. There's the door, there's door open. Okay. So we need to get a number of things, and we just need to do a number of things, and they're quite simple. So I'm sending the player character, because remember we're sending the player character through to things, but some of these things we do need, and you'll see why in a minute. So this is the function we're going to create first. Okay, so we're going to create a new function. So in our function section, plug in the plus, sorry, not plugin, and call it fn. I think it's get player location, is it? I can't remember what I actually called it. I don't think it actually matters. Oh, it's the open, it's set opening direction. That's it. Basically, we have to find out where the player is, and we need to find out if they're in front of the door or behind the door, and from that we can open the door in the direction of facing away from the character. You don't have to do it this way. You can always have it going one way. If so, you can just hard code some values, but I prefer it this way, because I think it just it's collisions with doors can be a pain, and they can get glitchy, and they can throw you into walls in places when you don't expect it, and it's just not worth the hassle. So rather than do that, we'll just have the door open away from the character. And the way you do this is a very small equation here, and we need to store this, which is our direction vector, but we need to know where the player is and what way they're looking. So we need to add a variable into this because we need the player in this. So input, and we call this player, or I called it player character before, but I'm just calling it player this time. And the type is character. There we go. And then compile and save. We've now got the player character. To do this, we need to know where the door is and which way it's facing as well. So let's get the door first. So we right click in empty space, but get actor location. Is it world location? World. What did I use? Please just get actor location. Why is it not coming up? Get actor location. Oh, it is there. I'm going blind. There we go. Right. And we also need the player's location. So again, get actor location. So we've got the actor's location because we've plugged the player into it. Yeah. And we've got our actor location self, which is the door. We then need to get the unit direction of the player to the door. To get that, it's actually called get unit direction vector. So this will tell you which way the character is facing to the door. Okay. Should we just drag this off, and we will put a print there and there. Compile and save. You don't need to do this. I'm just going to show you an example of how this is done. I'll go back to the event graph, and on the event tick I'm going to throw this set opening direction, and no, we can't because we haven't got the player. I'm just going to get a hard reference to the player. Get player character. There we go. That's just a hard reference to the character. This won't be staying in there. So this is giving, let me just set that so it's just one set of numbers, otherwise I don't want it going down the screen. You're never going to understand it. So if I set the key to I'll just call it door test, doesn't matter, it's not important. So long as it's got a name, it will always stay in the same spot. So as you can see, this is telling us what the unit direction, the vector is from the door. So I'm backwards and forwards on the X, yeah, and then I'm backwards and forwards on the Y, yeah. Y is plus this side and Y is negative this side, which means negative means I'm behind the door, positive means I'm in front of the door. Okay, so we need to get the dot product of this value. So let's just break that. I'm going to reuse that just to show you the next stage. So we need to get the dot product to get this correct. So the dot product of that direction that we've just got and the door again. So actor location. So get actor forward vector. There we go. And plug that in there. So now we've got a vector of which direction we are to the door, but we don't know which way around the door's facing. Now we do, because we've got the forward vector. That gets a dot product out, and now we'll drag that into this. It's creating a massive chain. Let's just get rid of that and that. There we go. Forgot it changed type. Now we have a value of whether we're in front of the door is negative, and it's facing the wrong way. So what have we got wrong here? So if we look in the door here and we look in the viewport, the door, I've put this arrow in. I did it on purpose. Okay, the arrow is pointing along the X vector, so the X axis. In a modern door viewport, which way is this facing? Well, as you can see, it's facing along the Y, which is no good. So we need to rotate the door frame around because all actors should be facing. I'm also going to put an arrow in here. So if you click on the door frame, click add and type arrow. Yeah. And we're going to have that facing north. We'll do that to the default scene route, and then it's always facing the right way. So as we can see, forward is always X, forward on the X, and the frame isn't. So we'll select the frame, and we're going to rotate that door frame. Why isn't it not letting me? Really weird how it's not letting me select things. So we're going to rotate that around the Z axis 90 degrees. So now the door is now facing the correct orientation. Yeah. This calculation relies that everything's in the correct orientation and that X is forward. We do that on characters, we do it on vehicles, and we do it now on doors. So that is the issue there, and that should now change our values when we come to the door. So regardless of which way the door's facing, as you can see, behind the door we're negative. Yep, doesn't matter where we are, we're always negative. And if we're in the front of the door, that number's positive in the top left, you see. And it doesn't matter if I rotate the door, it will always be based on the door. So if we're now still behind the door and it's negative, and we go in front of the door, it's positive. Okay, but I don't want all those values. All I want to know is which side of the door it's on. Yep. So we need to round that up. So to round that up, we can use a node. Let's do this again. Right. Out of here. So let's just break that. We just need a node out of here that gets us to where we're at. Now you can't use a clamp because clamp doesn't fix the values. I don't know if there's a min-max one, but the best way to do this is simple. It's actually, if you drag off here and type sine float, what it does, it will return just a positive or negative one depending on which side of the door we are. So it just gives us a value. See, so we're behind the door, we're in front of the door, we're behind the door, we're in front of the door, and that's what we're using to open the door. Basically, we know which way it's going to get rotated. So on the last door I did, I rotated around, I used a timeline that set a constant 90 degrees, and I divided it by the time to get an angle per second and all that. I'm not going to do that this time. I'm just going to do a straightforward lerp times by this figure. So let's get rid of that. Don't think we need to send anything back. We just need to set our direction vector, which we haven't made. So in variables, click plus and say direction vector. Change the type to float. Make it viewable. I'm going to set it, right, it doesn't actually matter, it's going to get changed anyway, it will always get changed. So then what we need to do is we need to drag that onto there, bring it across and plug in that. That then is our first function to get our direction. Okay, simple, very simple. And my OCD's kicking in, there we go. So we get the actor's location of both the door and then the character to get its unit direction. We then find the actor's forward direction of the door and get the dot products of that and that of the unit direction to get which side of the door we're on, front or back, which is then we just round to the nearest one, either negative or plus. There we go. So either plus opening or minus opening. Excellent. And if we go to the door viewport, you'll now see if we rotate the hinge,
we now need to work how much rotation we want the door to go. So you could just do 90 and stick with it, but I kind of like to open a little bit more, maybe 100. Yeah, I think about 100, but opening one way is negative and opening the forward way is positive. And that's what we do. We times our rotation by, I think our hinge is in just the wrong place. I'll check that now. We rotate it by the 1 or the negative 1 to give us our angle of rotation. Yep. Right. Okay, let me just check this hinge. It might not be in the center of the door, so hinge W, it's in the center of the object, so I need to bring that probably to there. So how much is that? 5. And then we need to set this to the door to -5. Let's see how well that spins now. Ooh. Select the hinge, it might help. That's better. It's pivoting more like it's centered on the door. So we need to be careful here, because the way the door opens, we may not be able to open it 100 degrees. What is our limits? Our limits are going to be 90. That's actually 83, to be fair. It's situated in the wrong place, to be fair, isn't it? The door frame's too thick, but it's okay for testing purposes. I'm not going into this too crazy. It's okay for testing purposes. In general, doors are like that, but they normally have a door jamb here, and they can only open one way. So yeah, technically you probably would have put this in the center, and it probably would have opened better, but this door frame's way too wide for that. You'd have to make the door smaller and actually look like a hinge, but there we go. Right, it's just for fun. You've got to get more technical, then that's, you know, in your own game, that's different, but not for this. So we need to set our rotation now. So this is going to be a little bit longer than the usual one. So let's go back to our event graph. We've set our opening closing direction. We don't want that there. Get rid of it. That was our test. Yep. Just to show it working. Let's come back to our door open close. I hate it when it keeps opening new graphs. So door open close. We're already doing this. So we now know whether it's opened or closed, and we need to rotate it. So when we open it, we need to check which way we want to rotate, and we could do that based on the new variable direction. So what we've got to open a door, we need a timeline. So if we go to add timeline, give it a name and call it door animation, and we're going to do it at 90 degrees. So if we double click this, our door animation. Now I've already tested this. 1 second, even though it doesn't sound like a lot, is more than enough for a door. So set your length 1 second. If you want it slower for a horror game, that's up to you. Click track and add a float track. I'm going to call that door angle, or you can just call it angle, whichever, makes no difference. Right, anywhere on the float track here, right click and click add key. It's already highlighted, so that means it's selected, and set the time as 0, 0. Right, now what we want is the positive direction of the door opening. So anywhere on the float track, again, right click, add key, and we want 1 second, value of 90. Okay, if you click these two values, it stretches it out. So basically you've got an angle that opens 0 to 90.
In fact, no, 0 to 1. Okay, there's a reason for this. I will show you in a minute. You may know this already if you know much about timelines, but so compile and save that 0 to 1. The reason is we're going to add a new variable. Add this here, and it's going to be door max angle, and we'll make that viewable. I'm going to set that to compile and save. Sorry, otherwise we can't. Set that to 90. Gives us control over the door. If we want to change it without coming into the timeline, we can do so. So we've got a 0 to 1. How are we going to use that? So back to our door open close. We've got our timeline 0 to 1. Okay. So we're connected into the play. So when the door opens, it connects into the play, and every update we want the door to rotate until it gets to 90. So you do that with what's called a lerp node. So come out, lerp. Oh no, you can't do it from this. Right, just type right click and type lerp. Linear interpolation. So basically the alpha between 0 and 1 will give you a figure between this and this, yeah, and it'll let it put it there. So we know that the closed angle is 0, yeah. Let's go into our viewport, go to our hinge. Closed angle is 0, yeah. So we don't need to mess with that. Oops. But what we do need to plug in here is the angle we're turning, so we can get our door maximum angle. Right. So what we need to do is blend between the two, which is done, where 1 will equal B, 0 will equal A, and anywhere in between will be somewhere in between. So we can plug our 0 to 1 angle there. That will happen over the space of a second. So what we want to do then is we want to come off this update. So this is everything that happens each frame. This updates. Drop it down, and we want to set relative rotation, and we want to set it to the hinge. Set relative rotation to the hinge. Okay, we could have dragged the hinge out and done it that way. Right, the rotation, we don't need to set any of the other values. So if we right click on this icon here and click split struct, we only want the Z. Yeah, so our return value will go into the Z. Right, let's just click that there and get my OCD back into place. Alright, so that's what happens. But let's see what happens when we run this. Okay, so it's already been called up here. We come along and we hit this. Oh, and nothing's happening. That's because we haven't put our interact on. But if we press play, move away from it, shift and F1, and click our door and find our door interact and click it, and our door opens. If we click it again, it won't do anything. That's because we haven't told it to reverse. Yeah. So to do that, door close will just be reverse. Okay. Play it again. Come here, shift and F1, click the door and click interact, and nothing. And now if we come on the other side, that's another thing we can see. It says open, which isn't good, is it? Shift and 1, door interact, nothing. What happens now if I now stand on the other side of the door, shift F1, select our door, interact, and it's still coming towards me, and it's not interacting with this. So what is happening? Why is this still opening towards me when we said it wasn't going to, and why is it not interacting when we come back? Well, the reason it's not interacting when we come back is because we haven't set this value to door open. So we've opened the door, but we haven't told this that it's open. So if we drag this out and stick it on the end of there,
Oh no, so not on the end of there at all. Right, we stick this on the finished. Yeah. Now the problem is with this, we're using this to open and close the door. Finish will fire on open and close. So we can't just go, oh, stop the simulation. We can't just go set this to on or off. We need to reverse the opposite. So all we have to do is bring it out, get, drag out, and press the exclamation mark, and choose not Boolean. What this does, it reverses the value of true or false. So if it's true, it'll be false. If it's false, it'll be true. That's all it does. It flips the value. It's not the value it was before. And there's only two values. It's one or the other. So we click compile. We click save. Okay. So we come to the door. Shift F1. Modern door. Interact. Opens. Closes. Opens. Closes. Come this side. It opens, it closes, it still opens, and it still closes, but it's not taking into account where we are because we haven't told it yet. And all we need to do for that is we need to set our opening direction, and we need to plug the player into there, which we already should have, which we won't get into. This is why we need it on the interact. For now, I'm going to cheat, get player character, but we will use the interact from this, which will send the player through. Okay, but for now we're cheating. Okay, so we now come up to it. Shift F1, Shift F1, door. Okay, and we'll go to the other side and Shift F1, door. What's going on? So what is going on? Basically what we haven't done, even though we've set the direction here, we've not used it. Okay, so we've got our door max angle, which is set hard coded to 90. How much are you going to set that to? 100, so it opens a little bit more. But that's no good when you're on the other side of the door, is it? So what we need to do is we need to do something with this so that it opens in the right direction. It's simple as drag this out and give a multiply. Drag the multiply into there, and then drag door direction vector into there. Now this might be backwards, so I might have to reverse the values, but let's just see. It might be the right way around to start with. Hope so. So we've timed the maximum angle by the direction vector, and what that does, it'll either give 90 or 100, sorry, now, or minus 100, depending on which side of the door one. I may have to reverse it because I can't remember how the well this works, but let's have a look. Shift and F1, not just one. Door, interact, and it's opening the wrong way. But if I go the other side, we'll go Shift F1, interact. See, it's opening towards us, so we will have to reverse the sign. It's not a problem. It's not a problem. We just add this above here, and then we multiply again just by -1. That's all. And now if we click on the door, it now opens away from us. Let's try the other side just to make sure I'm not fibbing. Shift and F1, door, interact. It's opening away. Now what happens when we come back this side and try and close it though? It goes back the right way, which it should, and it should now, if I click it again, open away from me. Yep. And the reason why that works is
we're only setting it when we're opening it. We only set that vector when we're opening it. We don't set it on close. If we set it on close, it would just destroy the whole thing. So, and that's all it is. That's all this lerp does. We get our door angle lerp, which is just an alpha between 0 and 1, and that between 0 and 1, 1 will be the maximum amount and 0 will be the minimum, and that's times by -1 on our angle gets us. I could leave the -1 there, the times -1 there. I could put it in the set the opening direction, make it a bit tidier. But no, we'll leave it there for now. And this changes whether it's open or closed or not. And there we have a working door. Not bad, huh? So let's just do one last thing before we finish. It's dragged on a little bit long. We'll now add our interact in. Okay, well, we'll do it inside our first person character then. So if we go down to our first person blueprints, open the character up, ignore that stuff down there for now, and we'll just add it in here. So Q, we're going to have to put key Q, there we go, and on release we're going to get the, oh no, we can't, can we? Because we're not, that's why, because it's inside an actor, it's a door, we can't receive a key. Okay, all I'm going to do is, I haven't showed you how to do this yet, so apologize for this. I'm going to bring this in because this is already there we go, this has already been set up, so we're going to call our door interact. And then what we also need to do is, we've got our player character here. Now when we cheated before, but we're going to uncheat and we're going to add, so go to our door interact, inputs, and we call it player. Now because it's the last thing I set up, it's defaulted to character, but just make sure you go character and you choose this character with object reference. Okay, door open, add player, and that's player character as well. So we drag that one into there, and why is it not letting me? Oh, that one into there, sorry. Get rid of this hard reference, this one into there. That's now got a chain to our player character from our interact. I'll go back to my event graph, player character into player. So this I've already got set up. I'll show you how this is set up another time on the next episode maybe, but now I should be able to hit E and it opens and closes. Actually, as we're going to go on to inputs on the next one, I'll just quickly show you this. See how it's got open, but it's closed, so you don't want it to say open, do you, when it's closed? We just do a little bit of jiggery pokery here. So simple as, we go back into our open and close, and at this point where we set this, we now do a branch, and we'll do off that value. And what we'll do, if we just drag interact text onto there and interact text onto there, so if the door is open, yeah, so if this is true, is door open, we want to set the value to close, otherwise we want to set it to open, and that just fixes our issue. So we're getting the door is open straight off there. You could drag it in, but it's there anyway. Branch it. If it's true, close. If it's false, open. Compile and save. Run. Open. Close. The only problem we've got is there could be
an issue with door spamming, but it doesn't seem to be. Yeah, there doesn't seem to be. So yeah, that's fine. No door spamming problem. No, it's the way we've done it. It's actually too efficient. But yeah, that's basically all we had to do to change the text. Just change our interact text based on the status of the door. Well, I hope you learned something from that. Next time round, we're going to do some input actions to allow us to open and close that, which will then trigger that. What was it there? Where was it there? Which will trigger this. We've already made this. This is part of our interface, yeah. But we need to also trigger this from the player. So we'll do that next time. Okay, I hope you learned something, and I'll be back next time with more. Take care. Bye.